So what is it about attempting to find actionable truth, right? Useful information that is so difficult sometimes? There are multiple right answers to this, but I think that the two problems that we run into most of the time are, number one, what is the motivation of the source? Number two, what context does the source live in, right? What paradigm do they live in? And also, what is the context of the situation? I'm sitting here at the Temple of Apollo in Delphi. So this is where the Oracle of Delphi was housed. This was her headquarters, right? She was the voice of the gods, specifically of the god Apollo. The military leaders at the time in Greece, the nobility in Greece, would come from all over the land, from the multiple city-states, to this temple to seek wisdom, seek advice on important issues. Things like military strategy, going to war, right? Economic issues, things that were very important to the leaders at the time. They would come here for that information, and most of the time they'd actually follow it. Found out an interesting tidbit while I was walking around here. It was normal at the time for the city-states to have their different treasuries here. So they would keep different treasures, valuables, as basically sacrifices to the god Apollo. And that was normal. To put a little twist in things, there were multiple kings, rulers from abroad that would also send large gifts. So we're talking the rulers of the current Asia Minor, so the Lydians, the Medes, and beyond that, the Persians. They have found that there's a ton of gifts that were sent from the Persian rulers to the Oracle at Delphi. Now, why does this matter? Because if you look back at the track record of the Oracle's prophecies when it came to issues dealing with Greece or Persia, essentially every time the Oracle takes the side of the Persians. So what does this mean in the context of travel? When we're planning our time abroad, one of the things we take into consideration is, where are there places that are safe, or is the place that I want to go safe? And then the question becomes, how do we find that out? We are perceiving certain places as safe and others as not, and why do we perceive them as such? And the reason usually is because of what we see in the news. But then, if you take another step back, the question becomes, is what we see in the news actual actionable data that we can use to plan our trips? And this is where you have to be careful, because there are many times that the news reports things that are the truth. They are pieces of truth, okay? And the unfortunate thing is that, say in the context of some tragedy happening abroad, these pieces of news will be reported to us, okay? But they will be plucked from their contextual housing, all right? The historical context, the societal, economical, military context. And unless you understand those pieces, the pieces of the context around whatever piece of news was just put in front of you, then you would understand what is actually going on in the country. And many times you have to know what's been going on for the past 10 years, 25 years, 50 years, 100 years, past millennia, to actually grasp what that small snapshot in time meant. So the news reports X happened today. It looks bad, but in the grand scheme, these things have been going on for a long time, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a dangerous place to go for you. Of course, you should always be looking at things like the State Department website. If you have friends abroad, there's always good resources to just say, hey, what do you think? I see this happened here. Do you think this is safe? Look at travel blogs. Obviously, if there are big things going on, like there are huge riots, the airport's shut down, the news is reporting that the State Department is saying, hey, don't go here. Obviously, those are things that you should take seriously. However, we shouldn't be scared by isolated pieces of news that we see. So if we have an interest in going to those places that some perceive as dangerous, those are worth doing your homework on. And that is